How about we find out what the hottest sports cards of the week are? Welcome, everybody. I'm Coach Co, and today we are going to show you what the top trending sports cards are for the last 7 days using the Sports Cards Pro app. And in order to do so, we first have to jump onto said website. So we are on the Sports Cards Pro app. We're going to go into the tools feature. Before we get started on this video, we are going to let you know that this is part of the premium features. For just $6 a month, you get access to this and many other features. However, just for subscribing, just for watching the video today, you're going to access this absolutely for free. First up, we got basketball, and we have some volume. We actually have downward volume on Wemby. If you scroll back to some of the previous videos, these were probably in the 200s before. Now, it's entirely possible that things are scaling back because we are approaching the holiday season. And as a result of that, buying tends to be scaled back. Something to look out for moving forward. We are going to jump into this This is Mark Jackson's 1990 hoops. Now, for those of you who don't know this story, and there is a bit of an upward swing on this, which means I can probably guarantee that there's a video floating around somewhere of unique cards and their backstories. And this one happens to have the Menendez brothers right over here. Now, the Menendez brothers are... The story goes that they killed their family, and then they ended up attending the Knicks game right after that. And so they actually murdered their parents and then jumped on and went to a basketball game, which is all quite crazy and overwhelming. But it's entirely possible that that is why there's a bit of an upward swing here. Someone probably made a video about it. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense why this card, 33 years actually, after release, has this kind of trajectory. So you see that this is not normal. This is probably because of some sort of video or publication. So PSA 10 copies of this card are $346.67, $195 for a 9.5. Nines are $50.23. PSA 8s are $29.96. So if you were to grade this card, it comes back an 8. You might actually make some money depending on who made a video about this card. All right. What we're also going to get into is pop report. So this feature is present on some cards and a great tool on the Sports Cards Pro app. It actually shows you how many of each of these cards exist in what grade. Awesome feature. Allows you to know kind of what you're buying. I also use it as a gauge to figure out roughly what cards grade. So if you see the vast majority of these cards are graded 8 and 9, then it's up to you to kind of prove why yours isn't one of those, because those are kind of where they're going to get shuttled to. Only 150 10s, so yours has to be perfect, generally speaking. So very useful in terms of mapping that stuff out, and I would look out for that as you look through cards on the app. We're going to go back into our categories feature, and this time we are going to select baseball. So we got Griffey tops this list again. We have a bunch of essentially vets up on top of this list, which I like. It's also because it's off season. We just had that massive Shohei Ohtani announcement, and his volume really hasn't moved a ton, especially because he's coming off an MVP. It's probably normal. So Ohtani just signed for the Dodgers. It's not like that increases his price a ton at present moment, especially because he's coming off an MVP. We are going to go into the Billy Ripken card. So Cal Ripken, another card that is often featured in videos. So I wouldn't be surprised if the top 7, or I guess, is it a top 7 category? Someone's got to correct me in the comment section. It is based off of a video today, which is very interesting. So this card ungraded is $39.44. It has come up to $56.01 over the last 3 months. Again, very interesting. We are past all-time highs on this card, at least while this has been tracked on the Sports Cards Pro website. $433.07 for a PSA 10. 9.5s $192 rather and 22 cents. 9s are $116.96 or 80 cents. 98 cents. I am going to learn to speak, I promise. And then PSA 8s, $92.73. So if you grade this card, it comes back an 8, you're still in the money. Again, we've got that pop report feature. There's only 482 10s. I actually thought a lot more of these cards have been graded. So the pop count on this card is only about 12,000, which is very, very low considering like Luka's PSA 10 count alone is like 17K. It's crazy. All right, team. Next category, basketball. I wonder what, or sorry, football. And the trend does not continue here. So the buck stops here in terms of these wacky cards taking over top spots. We have Brock Purdy still doing damage over here. I kind of want to talk about Barry Sanders, though. So he's in the top 20. 26 is the number of cards that have sold this month out of his 1989 Pro set. This card is just shy of his all-time high of $7.50 back in February of 2021. $152.60 is what you'll pay if you buy a PSA 10. 9.5s, $85.06. PSA 9s are $26.19. And then $18 for the 8. So this is an example of one where if you don't grade basically a 10, you're probably losing money. I would probably not recommend sending in your raw 1989 Pro sets. Again, if you look at the population report here and you add all of these up, you're probably going to get, what does this look like? Maybe close to 15,000. So right around the Bill Ripken, but you know, the price is just not there. I guess the demand is not there for this card versus the error card of Bill Ripken or Cal Ripken, depending on who you're talking to and what they call him. Next up on this list, we have hockey, and we got Mikko Rantanen's Upper Deck 2015. There's 19 of them sold, and this is his young gun, of course. This is probably the most liquid card when it comes to hockey collecting, not this card specifically, but this type of card, the young guns. This card's all-time high was back in 2021, where it sold for $51.27. It is down considerably, actually. Back in November, it was $32.73. Now it's about $20.51. So this is actually a prime example of just because a card is selling a lot doesn't necessarily mean that it's selling for more. So the chances are the reason why a lot of these cards are being bought right now is because it's hit a price where a lot of people think that it probably shouldn't be this low. And that's why the volume is where it is. You know, it's almost down 50%, which says a lot. I personally think that this guy is unreal. This is not any buying or selling advice, but this is just giving you a bit of perspective on the fact that not all trends say the same things. Next up, we have Lewis Hamilton's 70th anniversary gold. This is out of the 2020 Topps Chrome Formula 1. 7 of them have sold. And as you can see here, these are probably the first 7 sales, and that's why you see this massive run up here. $312 for a PSA 10. We don't have any 9.5s or 9 sales of these. Very clearly that a bunch of these were listed all at once, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All on the same day. All on the same day. So very, very, very interesting to see there. Again, this is another instance where just because something sold a lot doesn't necessarily mean that a ton of people are buying them. It could just be one person selling a ton of the ones that they have. And as a result of that, that kind of skews the data. And that's why we make these videos. And that's why we dive in deep. And this is why I try to give as many explanations as possible. And I try to justify why some of these prices are moving, because F1 is, I mean, there's no one really racing right now, right? So Kylian Mbappe's 2021 Topps UEFA Champions League is the hottest sports card during soccer right now. 25 of them have sold for the average price of $1.80. Now, again, if we look into this one, looks like someone sold a bunch of them on the same day. And it looks like it's all the same listing, basically. So boom, 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 all the way up. Now, he also played, if I'm not mistaken, in the Champions League last week. And I believe he scored the winner to put PSG through to the groups or to the knockout stage. So that also could be part of this. That being said, this card's all-time high was $27.13, dipped down considerably after release, where it's $1.80 now, $34.61 for a PSA 10, 9.5s are $23.74, PSA 9s $12.08. If you get an 8, you're down bad, $6.32. team. Final. No, we got UFC. Coach goes all over the place today. All right, tops this UFC list, we've got Shafkat, and I can't pronounce that last name, so we're going to stick to Shafkat. This card has been on a bit of a roller coaster itself. It debuted in August of 2022 for $1.25, got up to $3.22. I assume he lost this fight. You could correct me. And then it is up a little bit. So $64.66 where it lands for a PSA 10. 9.5s, $33. 9s are $29.99. And then we have the 8s where you are definitely down, especially if you graded it yourself. So again, when you're grading, make sure you know exactly what to look for in terms of surface, corners, edges, and centering. And if you know those 4 things, I would also recommend that you go out of your way to look at current PSA 10s. So PSA 10s that are for sale, PSA 10s that have sold, and compare these to the cards that you own and are subbing, because you want to know roughly what the buffer is in terms of like centering, in terms of, I mean, you can't really see surface too much, but in terms of centering, in terms of corners, and in terms of edges. Final category, we have wrestling on the list. Yeah, itchy mustache. All right, we got Stone Cold Steve Austin's Blue Wave out of 2023 Panini Select WWE. 4 of them have sold. This card debuted back in November of 2023. It is down from debut, so it was $10. Now it's $8. There are no PSA 10 sales, no 9.5s, and no 9s. This is important too. When a card first comes out, oftentimes it's probably the highest it's going to sell for. Once enough of them make its way to the market, people kind of, it comes to a floor at some point. Now, of course, I mean, this is a great looking card, and Stone Cold could do something in a not so distant future in order to bring this card value up. But generally speaking, this is the trend that happens with ultra modern sports cards. Team, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the hottest sports cards of the week. Do not forget to like, subscribe, comment, share this video with a friend. Please let us know what the favorite card that we featured today was, and continue to support. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Coach Co and Sports Cards Pro are out of here. Peace.